I want to take a moment to talk about something really important: mental health. Now, I've had the chance to try therapy a few times in my life, and let me tell you, it's always been a helpful tool when sorting through difficult moments. Therapy gave me the space to work through challenges, and more importantly, it helped me gain tools to deal with whatever life throws my way. That's why I'm excited to share something I think is really awesome. Rula. It's a healthcare company that makes therapy more accessible so you can get the support you need when you need it. Finding the right therapist can feel overwhelming, but with Rula, it's easier than ever. With a network of over 10,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, you can find the perfect match for your needs, preferences, and state requirements, whether you're looking for talk therapy or medication management. Plus, most major insurances are accepted, so you can pay as little as $15 per session. And another thing that sets Rula apart is their end-to-end care. They're with you every step of the way, from matching you with the right professional to scheduling appointments and even tracking your progress. Rula is dedicated to your success, ensuring you get quality care with carefully screened providers and support throughout your journey. So whether you're looking for therapy or medication help, Rula has the range of care you need. It's all about finding the right solution, even if you're not exactly sure what that is. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/diaries to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Go to rula.com/diaries and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Lowe's knows how to freshen up your yard, and it all starts with mulch. That's why we're introducing Mulch Week during SpringFest with can't-miss savings. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. Plus, members earn 5 times the points on select mulch purchases all week long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/9. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted, where we talk about everything that we've found online, what's going on in pop culture, what's going on in our lives, just all the little bits and pieces. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Paige. Thank you so much for being here. We say this like every week, but we love doing this so much because we are both so chronically online and chronically texting each other, whether it's links or just chatting as friends. So we're like, let's push the record button. So you've heard it 1,000 times by now, but that's what this is. That is what Unscripted is.
And before we jump into any of our stories, we actually have a shared note on our phones that we use to put topics.
Are we exposing ourselves?
We are a little bit. That's okay. It was really funny because we have a thing where we try not to text each other super late at night just because, our husbands are home. We're relaxing.
We had to restrict ourselves. She's being modest. We had to stop ourselves from chatting all day, every day into the night.
But it's mainly in terms of businessy things.
Yeah, true.
So if we have an unscripted thing, we'll post in the shared note and then it'll give the notification to the other person. Hey, Natalie or Paige just added something. And so I added something about scheduling for Unscripted because we had to change one of the days that we were recording. And all of a sudden she pops in and we start responding to each other there. And I told her it felt like passing notes in class in elementary or junior high, where we're not exactly texting, but we're having a full-on conversation and there's a little bit of a lag. It was very cute.
It was so fun because we were just both in the note at the same time. I was probably adding something and then saw your little your little icon in there. And they were just so funny. And I even wrote we may need to read these to listeners. So it's just hi, hello. Haha, just added blah, blah, blah. And then I will watch in bed. I just ate XYZ and I need to dry my hair. And then just saying oh, and I told Natalie, I've made refried beans that night. And I made homemade refried beans. I will never use canned refried beans ever again. And it is way too simple.
Well, and then I was like, healthier and less plastic.
Yes.
Because cans are lined with plastic. And these are the things that we talk about.
Exhausting. It's our lead paint is plastic. Like millennials, like version of like the boomers lead paint. It's plastic. Like
microplastics.
Way to go.
And then we were just talking, and then I guess it was funnier in the moment, but it was cute.
It's cute and funny because then Randall interrupted because it was time for bed. And before bed, we always watch Bob's Burgers or The Great North, which are both by like the same creators and phenomenal shows. And so it was like, okay, so time to go to bed.
We had to log off and save the rest of the combo for the next day. But it was fun.
Such a great example of like how we have 3 conversations at once going on. The Notes app, Instagram, our text thread. So I feel like a lot of people can relate because like with your best friends, like I'm sure you always have like a few conversations in a couple different spots going on with them too. So thought everybody could relate to that. And it was just really funny and cute. But I think you had something about Lana Del Rey that you wanted to tell me.
Yes. Okay. So Lana Del Rey is under investigation by the NAD, which is the National Advertising Division, due to her post regarding the collaboration that she had with Skims last February 2024.
Oh, gosh.
And Skims, if you're unfamiliar, is Kim Kardashian's shapewear lingerie brand. And she had posted 3 posts in a row for a campaign she had with Skims. And according to sources, Skims asked Lana to modify or discontinue those 3 posts that had been made in connection to Skims because she's wearing Skims. It's promotional photos from a Skims campaign photo shoot. And all Lana did, or whoever's running her account did, was tag Skims, but they didn't specify whether it was an ad or a partnership. So that's a big no-no, especially.
Yeah, that's not FTC regulation at all.
No, it's not. So if the National Advertising Division finds that Lana Del Rey's posts don't meet the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission influencer celebrity guidelines, she may be required to pay Skims a huge fine. And there is speculation online that Skims may even go after Lana for $1 million to, cover this fine.
This is kind of interesting to me because I feel like it's another example of the company winning, when in reality, where is also the responsibility of the company booking influencers and celebrities, especially let's talk about it from influencers, because influencers sometimes are themselves and themselves only and are surrounded by other influencers. So they don't always have the same team with the same, like, let's say like legal background. Whereas like somebody like Lana, like should probably have something going where she's learned this,
But I feel like she is the type that likes to fly under the radar with as small as a team as possible.
Sure.
So she may not have anyone managing things for her, but we don't know.
Clearly.
I do want to acknowledge your point of the business having partial responsibility because in
terms of like, make sure to add this, add that. Is it noted on the read?
Well, it's noted in one of the articles I read about it that NAD noted Skims had taken steps to ensure its contracted influencers comply with FTC guidelines, such as providing posting instructions to its influencers and monitoring its influencers to inform them of insufficient disclosures. So according to the articles that I read about it, Skims did their due diligence of letting both Lana and then apparently Brittany Mahomes is another person who has come under fire or is under investigation by the NAD for not disclosing a Skims campaign affiliation. So it's not necessarily, from what I can tell, Skims' fault, but they could be the ones held responsible for, the fine because it is their company.
Yeah. And listen, she is not the only one that does not post correctly. And I don't think it's because these people have an aversion to it. I think they literally just don't know that like putting hashtag Bloom partner
is enough.
Is not enough. Hashtag ad. Now it's marking it as an ad, which is why, when you post as a business account, that it is going to ask you like you can mark all of these things. And so That's interesting. But I do find it a little bit odd that like, why isn't putting hashtag whatever company partner on OK Word approved by the FTC, but like partner is not. And that is one you see all the time. Now, supposedly it's because it doesn't make it clear enough, I would imagine, why that word's not approved. But I like when I read it, I kind of know what that means. And I know it's not the only thing that has to be done, but like posting on social media is weird. It's why we don't monetize our platform.
Instagram has also made it a lot easier for these influencers and celebrities to acknowledge whether or not a post is a paid promotion, because they now have a tag underneath the poster's name that you can say that it is in collaboration with, and it'll tag the company. So there really is no excuse at this point to not have those links done appropriately. And if anyone knows, it's the Kardashians, because back in 2017, the FTC issued 45 celebrities warnings for not clearly stating their relationship with brands. And the Kardashians were among them: Kourtney, Khloe, Kim. And so they've had to pay these fines, which obviously is a drop in the bucket for someone of their net worth, but
still not worth it.
No, why spend money if you don't have to, right?
Yeah.
So they definitely know better now.
I know I said that posting on social media is weird. It's why we don't monetize our platform a few moments ago. But I guess I just wanted to expand like really briefly what I meant, because I was just speaking quickly as I do. But what I really meant was it is difficult to navigate those types of posts and ads. And so it's one of the many reasons that we don't, outside of the fact that our platform is primarily for the families and for the listeners. We're not selling product on Instagram. Anyways, that's what I meant by weird. And I was like hearing myself back in my head, and I just couldn't help but, you know.
It made sense to me, but I'm also like privy to that knowledge. So
we speak each other's languages as well. You knew exactly what I meant. But wow, that's interesting. We are going to have to stay up to date on that. Obviously, not following the Federal Trade Commission's guidelines is disgusting, but you want to know what else is more of like physically disgusting is Posie, my corgi. She's 2 and we love her.
We do. She's super cute.
We've posted her a couple times. We've posted both of our girls on the Instagram, so you can see her there or on my Instagram. So she wanted to go outside because there was a squirrel. Because the squirrel climbed up the tree, I was like, okay, this is like a little bit of enrichment for her, and the squirrel will be fine. She won't scare it too much or hurt it. So I let her out. She goes to the tree, the squirrel's up, and I'm kind of watching her. I'm on the phone with my sister. And then I see her go away from the tree. Obviously, the squirrel, continued to skitter away as it should. And she goes to an area where I couldn't totally see her, but I knew where she was. And like she was behind our barbecue. And I was like, wouldn't that be weird if she like had something right now behind the barbecue? Because to be honest, she's not really like that. She doesn't like steal a lot of things or get a lot of things she shouldn't.
But she's too quiet.
Yeah, it was just she's behind the barbecue for too long. So, of course, I step out. I was standing at the slider the whole time. I step out and I immediately saw like a grayish brown flash. Like this is all happening so fast. She had a rat in her mouth that was already dead. And then obviously I can't say I'm afraid of rats because I did have a lot of different rats growing up at different times.
As pets?
As pets. We had like the little brown, dark brown and white rats. Super cute. We always got girls. They were a little smaller. Super cute growing up. You would totally know the pet store we got them from too. I'll have to tell you later. So I'm not afraid of rats, and they made really sweet pets, but an outdoor rat that could carry disease and...
Well, you don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. We don't know anything about it, right? It could be mean and nasty, and a lot of rats that are wild are going to be not as docile as a domesticated one.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, again, this thing is dead, and she kind of hears the panic in my voice. And she ended up coming inside without it. Like that was fine. Although I did have to get a carrot for her to come inside because she was way too interested in that rat, even after it was out of her mouth. And so I got her inside, and then my sister was like, okay, calm down. Cause I'm in full OCD panic mode here. Okay. The germs, the lack of control of this situation. Is Posie going to be okay? Is this rat poison? Like, I'm spiraling, right? Natalie's shaking her head, you guys, because she knows what spiral.
It was shaking in affirmative because I also got the text after, like in the moment as it was happening. So,
oh, I don't doubt it. And see, I forgot all this because I was full spiral. So luckily, my sister is very good. She actually taught me how to read, you guys. She's 2 years older than me, and she literally taught me how to read, like basically like before kindergarten. She really knows how to like work with my brain. So I was telling her like, okay, I'm gonna, call my husband. And she's like, no, it's not an emergency. He doesn't need to come home from work for a rat. Like outside, like again, full spiral. So I wasn't able to reflect on any of this yet. And it wasn't necessary to call him. She's inside. She's fine. So she's like, what you do need to probably do is Google. I said, are you crazy right now? I cannot Google. I will spiral more. And she's like, no, you're right. So she Googles for me and she goes, okay, put me on FaceTime, take me outside. I have to see the rat. So it's like, okay. And so she's like looking at it and I kind of can see it through the FaceTime, but I kind of like look away and she's just kind of helping me allow myself to come down from the spiral and then help me out on the like more immediate needs. And it turns out that it didn't look like the rat had been poisoned, although that's very well likely. And I did call the emergency vet because I can't help myself, but it did say, call your vet, just to make sure. I know that Posie was up to date on all of her vaccines. So for like leptospirosis and rabies, which would be two bigger ones, although bats and raccoons are going to be way more worrisome for rabies than a rat, actually. That's what I was reading once I was away from spiral and days past. And the main concern was the poison. And I gave her an ice cube actually as soon as she came in too, because that's about 2 tablespoons of water. Because I figured if there's any poison in her system,
rinse her mouth.
It'll dilute it because what makes the poison in most things is dosage. Think of it like alcohol, right? Like, did you have 1 shot of alcohol? Did you have 20? And how quickly, right? So how much at one time? So I was like, okay, let me give her this and it'll like rinse her mouth out. But dogs also have good bacteria in their mouth. On top of bad ones, I'm sure. So after a few hours, like any like yuckiness, it actually probably would have been, I'm going to use the word like rehabilitated. So luckily there was no reason for concern. And they just said, unless she starts to vomit or have a stool change or sudden onset of like lethargy or change in behavior, to bring her into the Emerge vet. And the Emerge vet will tell you to come on in.
Oh, yeah.
Vets are famous. Well, we got to see her, bring her in. So I was happy with that. And I figured I wasn't going to have to go. I just needed to hear it from the office. And actually, normally they will they will pass me to a vet for specific questions. And this was like so routine and so common that they like already like knew what to tell me without having to have me speak to one of the doctors. So yeah, I thought that was a nice turn of events for something that was a little jarring and disgusting. And hopefully that helps somebody if your dog ever gets a rat. Definitely check to see if it looks poisoned. I will admit, I have seen, unfortunately, my neighborhood does have rat traps through the HOA throughout it because, the area I live in does have those. And I have seen a mouse that unfortunately did get poisoned. And it's not pretty. You can tell the stomach was like burned open green.
Oh.
It was also very traumatic. I can barely talk about it because I love mice and rodents. And I caught one and just put it elsewhere before. Like I didn't want to kill it. So this one that was already dead, it was really sad. So anyways, I kind of knew by looking at this rat, like I don't know if it was poisoned, but it didn't look like it. So my guess is either because it's California, a coyote or a bird. And they ended up getting what they wanted and dropping it. Like, those eagles that everyone's watching right now up in Big Bear, or especially a few weeks ago, I noticed like stuff gets out of their nest all the time. Like they had like a rabbit in there, like a full on like rabbit. And they didn't eat like all of it. I think they primarily focused on like organs and some of the meat. But like, anyways, so I'm like, where does that kind of stuff go? They probably pick it up and drop it. So I'm like, we have tons of hawks in this area and owls, and neither of them can carry that much weight. So a rat would totally be something that they would eat. A 2-pound rat is something they could carry. So I'm wondering if a bird dropped it, but I didn't look closely enough to see if talons were there. My husband has gloves at work, has latex gloves at work. So he brought home a pair and did whatever he needed to do with that rat. I don't know.
And that's none of our business what he did with it. He got rid of it. That's all we needed to know.
Don't want to know. Oh, and you know, she was like obsessing over the area, which we obviously like washed down and everything. But like after he picked up the rat, I let her out there because she was excited to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she went straight to the rat area. I'm like, you sick little dog. I cannot with you. But yeah, so my little rat killer over there who's cutely napping as if she didn't have a nasty rat in her mouth a few days ago.
Today's episode is brought to you by Acorns. People often say that the best investor is a dead investor. Morbid or not, here's why. It's because those who have passed can't make rash decisions, and they can't pull their money out in a panic every time they hear about a dip in the stock market. Acorns is built to help you invest for the long term, and, well, you don't need to be dead. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now. What's great about it, too, is you don't need a ton of time. You can create your Acorns account and start investing in just 5 minutes. Basically, Acorns does all the hard parts so you can give your money a chance to grow. Sign up now and join over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/diaries or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively grow Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/diaries.
My parents did an incredible job of helping me build healthy associations with money. It wasn't just about learning numbers, it was about understanding how balance and intentionality shaped our financial lives. Those early lessons set me up for success and helped me navigate the real world with more confidence when it came to money. And it's a big reason why I'm so excited to share today's sponsor with you, Acorns Early. Acorns Early is a smart money app and a debit card for kids that helps them learn the value of money. Kids can spend what they earn with their very own debit card. They'll love the new sense of independence and getting to choose from 35 plus customizable card designs. Plus, parents can keep track of where and when their kids are spending. You can get real-time spend notifications, set your kids' spending limits, and instantly block lost or stolen cards. They might not realize it now, but starting to invest early is going to have a huge impact on their financial future. And the best part? It's simple. And Acorns Early is such a smart, accessible tool to do that. If you're looking for a way to make a real difference in the financial future of the younger people in your life, Acorns Early is an amazing place to start. Ready to help your kids learn the value of money? Just head to acornsearly.com/diaries or download the Acorns Early app to get started. Sign up now and your first month is on us. T&Cs apply. Monthly subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with a Business Unlimited smartphone plan. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second internet plan with savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
She keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
She definitely keeps me on my toes. Natalie knows even more of the ins and outs of this dog, but she is actually a really good dog, though. She is. We did lots of training with her because I knew if I'm getting a corgi, they have lots of instincts that get them to 0 to 1,000 in a second. And so you got to know these things, and you got to have your recall on point. You got to be working with them. So, and it was fun bonding. So definitely, like, if you get a dog, like, group classes are great. Like, you don't need to pay for a private trainer. We did that, and we did group training. Group training was, no disrespect to the awesome trainer, but the group training was more effective for her. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was also me as the trainer, right? A lot of what your dog responds to is you as the owner, right? And how you're doing things. And so maybe it's just like, as an educator myself, I like responded to the class because like I'm learning, but like you're also learning from the trainer too. But like, I think it was interesting to me that classes worked better for her. They also worked better for a friend of mine who did a different private trainer, but then also these same classes with 3 of her dogs. And only the first one had the private trainer, but she had a more effective outcome from the classes too. So it was just kind of interesting. Doesn't mean every dog, but very interesting.
I mean, hey, whatever works, especially if it's the more cost efficient route as well.
It is. Oh, it cost probably half of what the private trainer cost for those 3 classes. However, the private trainer was for life. And this trainer, of like the group classes is what I mean. I could probably go back and like audit a class again and like brush up on things. I could have that trainer come out for pretty cheap, but right, it's not like, it's kind of like a per situation. So pros and cons of all that, but I recommend it for anybody to everybody, and probably as young as you can safely. Once, soon as they're like done with their shots, you should be working on all the other things. So my internet decided to go out, but I was probably had blabbered on long enough about dog training and Posie getting a rat, but we'll end it with, yes, by the time your dog is old enough, get them trained. You will not regret it, and do not be afraid of a good group class in your community.
Yeah. It'll keep you and your dog safe.
Yes.
So there was something else that we had been wanting to talk about that we haven't touched on yet. It's Chappell Roan was just recently on Alex Cooper's podcast, Call Her Daddy. And there are quite a few clips that are making the rounds right now. So I think those would be kind of fun to talk about.
I ate that interview up. I really did, because she is so fascinating.
She really is.
What was really interesting to me, well, first of all, one of my favorite moments was when she does this little riff of, well, she's telling a story about how this person didn't know who she was. And it was at karaoke, which apparently Kaylee/Chappell hates karaoke. She doesn't like it. And it was for some interesting reasons that she lists. So definitely listen to the interview. So that feeds into this story about how this person didn't know who she was, but was like asking if she wanted to sing or like what she wanted to sing. And she was like, oh, like I'll do Shallow from that movie.
With Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
And there's like 1 or 2 other versions of that movie as well that are like older, like from like the 50s.
A Star is Born.
A Star is Born. Thank you. Do not know why it was escaping my brain at the moment. But yeah, A Star is Born. It's a very old movie that was then redone. And everybody knows this. So I'm like probably over explaining a song that everybody knows. But so Chappell just lets out this, like how she belted it, and it blew the guy away because again, he didn't know that she was like an artist at the time, and she wasn't as famous as she is now, but it was just really funny. So she just like belts out that like, I'm in a deep end. Like, I'm obviously not a singer, but like just like in this like the most gorgeous like Chappell Roan voice that you could possibly sing that riff that I just absolutely probably destroyed. But I wanted to show the part too, because it's a very difficult part to sing. Like you can't like just sing that part well. And that would blow anybody away that doesn't know that you could sing. Like they probably thought she was going to get up there and sing it like me, like, you know, like just like having fun or whatever. So you have to watch the interview and hear how she sings it, because I want her to cover that song now. Like, I'm like, it was beautiful.
She really is such a huge talent. But one of the things I think that is going to be a stumbling block for her throughout her career is herself. I feel like she puts her foot in her mouth a lot.
She does.
And we've covered that in previous episodes when this was still called journal entries. And I think there were a few instances during this specific interview where she didn't necessarily consider how people would respond to what she was saying.
She does put her foot in her mouth. And I can think of 2 instances right now. However, there's part of me that understands that the things that she's sort of putting her foot in her mouth over are somewhat personal and have to do with the way that she is dealing with fame. And the first one is that, and I don't know if this is foot and mouth, but she did completely come out as lesbian and not bi any longer, which is great. Be yourself. Please be your authentic self. I will still support you, as many people should also still support you. But it sort of is this like idea of the way it was done, in that you feel like you love and you're supporting this person, but that you don't really know them, right? But that's also her right. Like, you get to come out however you want to come out. We cannot police that. And that's this conversation she's bringing up, especially when she doubles down in this interview. And we talked about when this first came up, but she doubles down and revisits how she wants people to sort of like read the room and not come up to her for pictures, to not just assume that because they see her that she might not be in a fight with her girlfriend, and this is like actually an example she uses, and not want to like pause and stop for a picture. And I get that. But also, again, it's kind of sometimes a little bit of the delivery of like, whoa, wait, what? You're full lesbian now? Because I thought that you last time I heard you were bi, or like, and this time you're this. Again, these things are personal though. So like part of you has to respect that.
And Kaylee/Chappell. So Kaylee is her like legal name, and that's what she goes by when she's not on stage performing. She does take a lot of inspiration from the Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus dynamic. And she even does bring that up in the interview. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did see a good portion of it. And because she takes inspiration from the Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana dynamic of when I'm on stage, I'm this persona, but when I'm off, I'm living my life doing things and please don't recognize me sort of thing. I think in her head, it should work like that in real life. But as we know, Hannah Montana was a TV show, and it was so much easier for the character that Miley Cyrus portrayed to accomplish that split between her public life and her private life. I think she's realizing how difficult it is to actually implement that in her real life as a true artist, as a person in 2025.
My dog is trying to attack the Amazon package delivery person. So please ignore her. You're so right, though, in that she does mention Hannah Montana and how much she loved that show growing up. And she's the perfect age for that, being born in 98. And it isn't real life. And it sucks for people who want to make music a career, because you can't make a ton of money at it unless you are famous when you want to be at the artist level, right? Like even like Avicii, right? Let's take him for example. Like he had no idea what was coming. And I Am Tim is a great documentary on Netflix that he just was really good at computers and really liked music, and then figured out how to make music with computers. And they were like, I'm going to make you famous within like a year, you know? And I think it catches them by surprise, because you don't know until you know. So also, what if she didn't know that she wouldn't like being famous?
And I think there are other people that this has been able to be accomplished by. Like the person I'm thinking of is Sia. Honestly, like I've seen her face, but she does cover it for all of her performances with large wigs. And there really is that departure of the distinction between the artist and the person who is Sia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And while she is super, super famous, I do think there's something different. I don't know why Sia was able to accomplish that and Chappell hasn't been able to. Is it because different generations are fans? Is it because of the timing? Is it like what I want to know why Sia is able to do this and maybe Chappell hasn't been so successful.
I think Sia waited a really long time to even really like show her face at all.
Mm-hmm.
I also, this may sound gross because it is gross, an age factor. Sia isn't and was not young when she got famous, which is a beautiful thing. because it does show how somebody that might be a bit more mature, which is already kind of a gross word, but I don't really have a better descriptor, how they can still have a career, but look at how different it had to be than, say, somebody like, let's take Tate McRae, who's really taking off, especially in like the Gen Z fandom world at only like 21, 22. You know, it's just a different path.
That's a good point that you're bringing up too. And I think we should also acknowledge that Sia was in the music industry for years and years and years, just as herself. And her career never really took off until she rebranded as this persona who doesn't show her face. So maybe it was that departure from who she had been, and they were willing to accept her a little bit more and just hear her voice for what it was rather than focus on who the individual was.
Yeah, those huge bangs and the big bow, they not only gave us a trademark, which hair is typically used as a trademark. So if you see an up and coming person that you catch on TikTok or something like that, and you've been following them and they change their hair pretty drastically, you can guess that they're probably going to take off within that year. And that is something I learned through TikTok and surrounding TikTok, and then noticed in my own experience of following people. It's like, wow. And Chappell went from like long, regular, kind of like mousy brown hair.
Maybe even like a little bit of a auburn.
It had a red hue. It did.
Yeah.
There was a slight redness to it, like a strawberry mousy brown, though. It was like a little lighter.
Certainly was never as red as it is now.
It certainly isn't the sort of, what do we want to call it? Like drag appreciation, costuming and hair and makeup that she does now, which is so fun and playful and everything, much like drag typically is. And I think that allowed her that space the same way that the bow and the huge wigs and long bangs did for Sia. So it allows these people to sort of like come out of their shell, maybe more than they were before, of something that was holding them back. Now, obviously, it's a difficult industry, so there's probably a myriad of things that would have been holding Sia back a little bit more. And I'm not saying you can't earn money, but I'm just saying if they want to earn the money that like huge stars earned, you want to earn the millions. And unfortunately, fame is the cost of that. And they don't like it. But I also think that you are allowed to not like it because you don't know it, once again, like I said, until you're in it. So it's really hard to say like, yeah, well, that just makes me really mad. They're like, she should take pictures with everybody because, you know, she's famous and they support her and they're the reason that she has any money. It's like, well, that's true. She had no idea what fame was like. Like she just wants to have dinner. And be able to have privacy with a partner. And that's sad that we would think she has to give that up, you know?
I actually think that's one of her more important conversations that she has, or dialogues that she's brought up and brought attention to as she's gained celebrity. I think it is something that the general public needs to acknowledge, is that these people who you think you know, you don't really know, and they don't owe you anything. They don't need to take a picture with you, but it's nice when they do.
Yeah. And I think that there's a time and place for it all.
Oh, absolutely.
I probably spoke about this when we were first talking about how she was going on about this on TikTok many episodes ago now. But when I met Blake Shelton after a screening of The Voice, or a filming of The Voice, I should say, the one thing I said to my friend was, if he's eating, I'm not going to go up to him. If he is not eating, then sure, we could say hi. We have our wristbands on from the show and we supported the show. So you would think that he's like, okay, saying like hi in a quiet little old fashioned like steakhouse. It was not far from where the screening was. In fact, we walked over to it. So it was kind of not like a shock, but also kind of cool that he ended up there. But no, we didn't want to have some big long conversation or completely be disruptive, but also, yeah, we just supported you. So I kind of made that line and my friend agreed. This friend is really good luck, by the way. Any person that is famous that I have met is with this friend.
Really?
Yeah. And they're always pretty nice. Like I've never, like my experiences with the famous people, although I'm sure that there are off days for everybody. And it's not like I've met a bunch of famous people, but they like just know the tips and the trick and seem to have decent etiquette too. But so Blake wasn't eating. So we just said hi, like, thanks for a great show. We were just there and, you know, enjoy your dinner. Like, you know, I did not ask for a picture in a restaurant. I'm not doing that.
No.
Because I wouldn't want to stand up and take a bunch of pictures. I have a double chin and half of them. Like, I don't even like taking pictures.
Well, and then especially if you don't know where that picture is going to end up, as you know, if for the celebrity.
Yeah.
Wow, this house is cute. But can I really get in the game in this economy? I do have savings, and I am responsible-ish. Ugh, I should bury it. I'm being wild. But what if I'm not being wild, though? Could I actually score a...
Kick off your home buying journey with Zillow's new BuyAbility tool. It makes it easy to find out what you can afford, so you can get off the bench and onto the playing field with confidence. Check your BuyAbility, only on Zillow.
This episode is brought to you by the Nissan Armada Pro 4X. With a twin-turbo V6 engine ready to propel your adventures, up to 8,500 pounds of towing capacity to haul all your favorite toys and space for 8 passengers, Nissan's most powerful car yet will chew up and spit out anything you throw at it. Learn more about the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada at nissanusa.com. Towing capacity varies by configuration. See Nissan Towing Guide and Owner's Manual for additional information. Always secure cargo.
This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit TemptationsTreats.com to learn more.
Some things work better together, like NARS's Soft Matte Complete Concealer and Radiant Creamy Concealer. Soft Matte Complete Concealer erases and blurs imperfections with full coverage. Then, Radiant Creamy Concealer evens and brightens with a luxurious texture and radiant finish. 2 concealers, 1 flawless look. Perfect for a no-foundation base. NARS, better together. Visit Ulta to shop now.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to tell you that Michelob Ultra is giving you the chance to win tickets to the NBA Finals. That's right, the 2025 NBA Finals. Just head to MichelobUltra.com/NBA Finals. Michelob Ultra Courtside NBA Finals Sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents, excluding Maryland residents. 21 up. Begins at 9 a.m. EST on February 16, 2025. Ends on May 5th, 2025. See official rules at MichelobUltra.com/rules for price and details. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
There isn't one other thing. This is really what I had in mind when I said that Chappell put her foot in her mouth.
Oh, what?
She mentioned, she was talking about her high school friends on the podcast, and she was saying, she was being asked questions about what that dynamic's like, because
oh yeah,
all of her hometown friends are moms and they're married and they're homeowners and they're living their quiet suburban life, whereas Chappell is in LA. She's this mega superstar, just getting more famous by the day, living a very, very different life.
She's from small town Missouri, to catch anybody else up.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Yes. So she really is, the life she's living is such a departure from where she came from.
Yeah. Listen to California. It's a beautiful song that she does sing about that.
But she said in the interview, she doesn't know anyone at this age who's a mom and happy about it.
Oh, yeah.
I have seen so many stitches, so many responses of people taking issue with that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a mom, so I don't know how moms feel. You know, I think though that if I were her friend and she had used me as an example, like she didn't name any names, but she makes it clear like she knows people with 1-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. So if you're listening, you're her friend, you have an idea if you were referenced. I don't think I would have appreciated being referenced like that.
Right. Because I think becoming a mom and going through all those changes that you do go through and all of the stressors. And I mean, there are women where it takes a really long time to come out of that hole. And being 26, you could imagine that, well, she's 27 now, but you could imagine that like you're young and there's a lot of things you didn't expect going on. And you don't lose a piece of yourself, but you're gaining this new piece that maybe sometimes does make you feel like that, going off of what other moms have said to me, not assuming for them. And at that young age, it's that period of time where it's like some people aren't married and are living in LA like Chappell and becoming famous.
And then there's other people who, they're on their third kid and they've been married for, 5 years and got married a little younger or whatever. And so it's an odd stage of re-identifying yourself so to hear that somebody that maybe never said it to your face says it on one of the most popular podcasts in existence, that would be tough. You would feel a little bit, what's the right word? Like thwarted by your friend, or I don't know the right word.
Like blindsided or...
yeah.
Because I have to imagine, because these are her friends that she's referencing, they've vented to their friend about maybe difficult situations as they are becoming new moms. And at least everyone that I know who is a mom and has gone through that, within the last 10 years, they all have said along the same lines of becoming a mom is really a rebirth. You're saying goodbye to your old self.
Okay, exactly as I was describing, but what a much more beautiful word, a rebirth. I love that.
So you're not only giving birth to a new life, you're giving, this little life, you're giving birth to your own new life. And we know with puberty and with adulthood, there's always this transition phase where things are awkward and things are uncomfortable and things don't really make sense. You're still trying to figure it out. And I think maybe she's seen some of her friends go through that transition phase, that rebirth.
And is mistaking it as unhappiness, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think, she's entitled to her opinion.
Of course.
But I think that it was not taken well by a lot of people who did hear that interview.
Right. Because I think that we can't let moms be real and then tell them how they're feeling, though. You know what I mean? If it's somebody close to you and you're having a private conversation, but in a public way, we can't let moms who need us more than anything to just, hey, I need a dose of reality. Can you meet me for lunch? I got to get out of the house. That should be normalized, right? Because dudes get to do it all the time as dads, right? Who do the schools call when a kid is sick? They call the mom.
The primary caregiver, which is typically in 95% of the time the mom.
Yes. Or it's called the default parent. So,
oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of I love my job, but I don't want to go there every day. I wouldn't want a life where I had to work every single day. We need breaks. So do moms. So if they're just saying, oh my gosh, yeah, what a week, little so-and-so was vomiting and then so-and-so caught it. And then now, a couple days later, I'm catching this and we just can't catch a break. Yeah, you might seem a little unhappy, but that's not what you're saying. You're just going through something because that's the phase of life you're in. So those are your current stressors. Whereas for Chappell, her current stressors are people coming up to her wanting to take a photo. But would you like it if somebody says, oh, well, you're not happy being famous? I don't think that that's true. That's just one piece of it.
What's interesting, if you are thinking about it too, her friends that she's talking about that are newer moms and Chappell are really both going through this change, this life change that's significant.
Yes.
And so it is interesting that she's willing to be open to conversations of why won't people understand where I'm coming from? This is me venting of the challenges, but it doesn't mean I don't like what I'm doing. And she's not able to see the connection or the similarities between her friends who are going through something that is a life away from what she's experiencing, but a similar phase.
A similar process. Yes.
Yes.
And it's interesting that you put it that way because she actually references that she got advice from other famous people that it was like going through puberty. How could she not see that as a second puberty, so to speak, or rebirth for her mom friends as well? I mean, I will say, yes, 26 is somewhat young to, have multiple kids already, but it's not unheard of, especially in small town US. And it's as somebody who has no desire to leave where they are from and leave where my parents are from, I get that. I personally like where I am from. So I am lucky that I don't feel stuck here because I don't want to leave family. I would want to live here even if I wasn't from here. But to say that they're wrong or whatever, or I don't even know what the right word would be, but they are missing something for staying there. I get it. Yeah, you're going to get experiences traveling and living elsewhere, but some of these people could have gone to school elsewhere and moved back or whatever. I mean, we don't know their stories. But yes, please get out, explore, and travel. But you don't have to like go live abroad for 5 years to like, come into your own. So I think that maybe watching back, Chappell will pick up on hopefully that part where she's talking about her own second puberty, so to speak, and not really like seeing that for her friends that are moms and that, yes, they're going to have stressors. It doesn't mean they don't like it.
And I do want to emphasize that we're both really big Chappell fans. Like we like her music. We like her.
Oh yeah. We're encouraging her growth in her thought process. Yeah,
absolutely. And what I do notice throughout her conversation as we're dissecting it a little bit is I see someone who doesn't really know who they are.
Yeah.
I guess I should rephrase. I see someone who is figuring out who they want to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who they want to be through this fame.
Yes. I can tell she knows who she is, but she's finding out ways to walk that path in the public eye.
Yeah. And I'm also seeing somebody who wants to figure out a way where they can have boundaries that make them feel safe. I mean, she's coming from a town of like, I can't remember how many people, but it is not a lot. It is only like in the thousands, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Right. Very small town. Not even like the small towns you and I were raised in, which aren't super small because we were raised in a major metropolitan area, but smaller feels. Anyways, all that to say is I'm seeing somebody who is adjusting and learning things that they didn't get to learn all the way back in Missouri, right? It is different than, say, living in proximity to LA and understanding certain things about it, even not being in one of the industries that LA houses. You still know certain ins, outs, and things because you learn by observation a lot. And so if you're surrounded by something growing up, you're going to know it a little bit better. So there's just a lot of things she's learning coming from small town Missouri that maybe took her by surprise, or maybe that she doesn't like and wants to honor that she doesn't like that. And again, she does have a right to these things. It's just about figuring out how to kindly and somewhat, I guess, professionally make sure that those things happen. And one of those things I think was good is that she did take a bit of a mental health break. And I think that that's important. And she may require that more than other artists. And that's okay. And I will be the first to say actors and musicians, especially ones that write music, like lyrics to music, they feel things so deeply. I cannot even explain how much deeper they feel things. They have to sit in it. They have to write that song, or they have to develop that character to feel like this, because some of them will tell you like certain characters or songs like saved their lives, because that's just how these artists are. I mean, it hasn't been that different ever. Just because they're in 2025 and not like the past, it doesn't take away from the fact that artists still are that. They are artists. They can be a little funky and have their own vibes and operate differently than people who are not artists. And that's okay too, because we need everybody. We need the artists. We need people who aren't. So that's fine, but we do have to, I feel like we all have this really bad habit, myself included, of it being really hard to understand that something is still relevant or could happen in our lifetimes, right? Like even just like take it like something we didn't learn from history and it happens again. And it's something we learned about from like a textbook. You feel like, oh, it could never happen. But then you start seeing certain things like happen around you or what have you. And it's so much harder to believe when you're living in it. So that's where I feel like it's that same thing for like artists. Like it doesn't have to be, the Renaissance, so to speak, for artists to be exactly that and still be their like funkier, weirder, dramatic selves. That was really long-winded, but I hope it makes sense.
No, you're right. We do need, the world needs logical thinkers. We need deep fillers. We need all of them. So I'm glad we have Chappell, and I'm glad that we have her music. And I hope that she comes out of her rebirth a newer, better person. And same with all the moms that she was referencing.
Yeah, it sounds like she's got some mentorship going on and people letting her know what to expect. And I think it would be very common to be sort of self-centered during such a rebirth or second puberty or whatever you want to call it. It makes sense.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
Literally, your whole life has been torn down and you're building it up piece by piece. So it makes sense.
It does. And I guess this is a good place to end because we are definitely running out of time. But thank you, everybody, as we always say, for being here and for listening. We love doing Unscripted, and it's all because you guys listen. It allows us to keep doing it.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the Roaring 20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.